The White Sox and the Twins. This series presented by Explore Minnesota Tourism. And we come to you from chilly Target Field in Minneapolis as the Sox take on the Twins for game number 1 of a scheduled 4-game series. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And look, both of these teams were in close games yesterday, and both teams found a way with power to get ahead and win.
Minnesota's playing very good baseball, so far ahead of the Indians, and our Sox have been in 10 of their 11 games, and yesterday was no exception because they stayed close, they kept it tough and tight, and then Matt Davidson came up. Bang. 2-1 lead. Nate Jones made it hold up, and the Sox, who have been in just about every game, find a way to win one, break a 5-game losing streak. Everybody is ecstatic in the dugout. And Matt Davidson hit his 5th. And then Max Kepler takes it back, a walk-off home run in the 9th. Max is off to a very good start. The Twins are off to a very good start. That was in dramatic fashion. And the Twins give him a bath, and on a cold day, maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe Max has a cold today because it's going to be very cold, but not as cold as tomorrow.
Yeah, those are bad teammates right there.
Yes, indeed.
You don't want that when it's 30 degrees. Look, we have a great pitching matchup. 2 very young guys, Giolito and Barrios.
Lucas going to the mound trying to find that curveball. And the 2 starts he's had, he really couldn't feel his fingers. So when it's that cold, you can't get any touch and feel, and consequently, no command. But he threw well enough in Kansas City to at least hold that team close, and then threw the ball by a pretty good hitter in Miguel Cabrera. But all in all, he hasn't got his release point yet. On the other side of the equation, Jose Barrios against our Sox at 3-1, his ERA just over 2. Last year, 14-8, one of the best young pitchers around. You're going to like that crackling fastball. He's got an outstanding breaking ball. This is one of the best young pitchers in baseball. Hopefully we don't see it tonight. But against our Sox, he's been nails.
Yeah, 2 great pitchers and a lineup that you're very familiar with. The Twins look pretty similar to the last couple of years. 23 years old on the mound both ways. Barrios and Giolito, they tangle at Target Field next.
Believe it or not, James Shields, you know, he taught me a different grip with my curveball, and I tried it out, and it's been working really well. I mean, just from really any of the guys. I was throwing with Kopak and, you know, Fulmer and Giolito and all them, and just, you know, picking things here and there from all of them.
Blue Shield of Illinois, Through It All, by Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Beautiful Target Field. At the end of its first decade of existence, Sox and Twins, game number 1 of a scheduled 4-game series. The weather's a little chancy for the next 2 days, but we're going to get this one in today. Yolmer Sanchez, Jose Abreu with smiles on their faces, a little shadow boxing. Yolmer's always got a little energy for you. Time for the Sox lineup, brought to you by the Webb Auto Group for the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Moncada once again at the top, then Avi and Jose, Davidson, Delmonico, and Sanchez. Tim in the 7th spot, Narvaez in the 8th position. Wellington Castillo still out, and Adam Engel batting 9th.
The defensive setup for the Twins, presented by UI Health, and this is how Paul Molitor is going to throw them out there. Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler left to right. Then it's Sano, Escobar, Dozier, and Mauer. Jason Castro gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Jose Barrios, one of the talented youngsters around. He's from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, and the Twins will be playing the Indians in Puerto Rico in a few days. 2 starts, 3.29 ERA, through a shutout. The first time out was brilliant against Baltimore. He's got electric stuff. When he's right, he is really tough to deal with. It is a cool night here, and we'll see exactly how it plays out. But it's not going to be quite as lively in this park as it will later on in the season. The Sox hoping to get this one in. They will for sure. The question is the next 3. We'll have to see if the weatherman will cooperate. So as Barrios gets ready, and they're ready to play baseball, Yohan Moncada steps in. I'm ready to throw it to my play-by-play partner, the irascible Jason Benetti.
That is so true. Stoney, good to see you. Glad to be here. And the Sox and Twins, game number 1 of this series. Yoan Moncada at the top of the card, and that 200 average is a little bit of a misnomer as he stands in against Barrios. First pitch hunting, Moncada fouls it away. 0-1. Yoan right now, in terms of exit velocity, is number 1 in Major League Baseball in average exit velocity at nearly 98 miles an hour. He's hitting the ball as hard as anybody in America.
Well, it's not really hard to believe when you take a look at him and you see the physique. He's got big power from both sides of the plate. It is difficult to keep your stroke as a switch hitter. And now Sano will shift. He'll go from third base, where he tried to take away the bunt from Moncada. Now he moves to the first base side of the infield. They've got a center fielder, folks, that can go get him alley to alley with the best in the business. Not quite as steady as Kiermaier of Tampa Bay, but Byron Buxton, former #1 draft pick, is electric with his speed.
There's strike 3. Barrios with an opening punch out of Moncada, 1 away.
Barrios is around the plate with most everything. And the youngster was 14-8 last year. The ERA very respectable. For his first full year in the major leagues, you would have to say it was wildly successful. The Twins surprised a few people. They're not going to surprise anybody this year, as a lot of people picked them behind the Indians. They believe to a man they can run down the Indians, and right now they're leading by percentage points in the race for the Central.
Sox right now at 4-7, same as the Tigers. Kansas City 3-7, so there's only a 3-game separation from top to bottom in the division. But the one thing about this division right now is the batting averages have struggled. The bottom 2 teams in Major League Baseball in batting average are in the Central Division. The Tigers are 2nd worst, and the Indians, surprisingly enough, have hit 170 as a team, dead last in baseball.
Shows you how dominant that pitching could be, and today they're pounding lumps on the Tigers, leading 9-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. So behind Trevor Bauer, as you look at Paul Molitor, the Hall of Fame skipper of this Twin team. He's done a nice job with a young team. They do have stars on this team, and they got a loaded minor league system, so the future is bright for the Twins.
0-2, fouled away.
For Barrios, you can't really tell if it's a curve or a slider because it's a hybrid. It's in between. It doesn't have the sharp break of the slider. It doesn't have the big break of the curve. It's between both pitches, but it's terribly effective because it breaks so big and so late. So we look in at Castro as he hangs the sign. It's a fastball. Question is where he wants it. It's in.
And it got under Avi's hands, fouled away, still 0-2, and Barrios still hasn't thrown a pitch out of the zone yet.
When he gets it rolling, hitters have some problems. And the outfield playing Avi as an off-field hitter, there's a huge gap in left center field, and Rosario is way off the line in left center. That's how they play in Coors Field in Colorado. They give you the line and take away the alley.
Another breaking ball, another foul. Barrios, talk about hitters not having a good time against him. That first start of the year at Baltimore, complete game shutout, 107 pitches.
Really amazing because, number one, he only gave up 1 hit, and late somebody laid down a bunt. It was a blowout at that point. So a 2-hit shutout, his opening start of the year. That is terribly impressive for anybody.
And the dirt blocked by Castro, 1-2. Twins just took 2 of 3 against Houston, which is a good sign for this Minnesota 9.
What was a good sign was they got all 3 games in, and that was a really good sign. As the Midwest, the East, having all kinds of problems with rain and snow outs, and we're going to see a whole lot of that the next 3 games.
We're going to see the transition from rain to snow right before our very eyes, at least the weatherman says.
Also fire and rain, maybe.
Sunday, 30% chance of brimstone.
Sunday looks like, optimistically, the best chance to play.
1-2, and Avi takes down and out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, Saturday the forecast ranges from 5 to 11 inches of snow.
It's a wide range, but it's going to be a blizzard one way or the other. And tomorrow they're talking about actually calling the game before 12 o'clock, so we'll have to wait and see.
2-2 is low. Nice work by Avi to draw the count full.
despite the fact that Avi goes to right field a lot, they're conceding right field. You got Dozier on the third base side of second, 3 infielders. This team probably shifts more than any other team in the league.
On the ground to shortstop. And 2 away as Escobar throws him away for the second out here in the first. And in case you were wondering what's coming up in our telecast, here is our menu. We'll take a look at the White Sox farm report. Dane Dunning with a beautiful outing against Myrtle Beach. Some outfield robbery from a former Sox player around Major League Baseball. And talk to Ricky Renteria about that failed suicide squeeze in the 7th inning in yesterday's game, and we'll get his comments on what Yoan Moncada did in that circumstance coming up later.
There's a teaching moment for Ricky. We'll take a look at it, and a learning situation for Yoan, and hopefully it will not be repeated.
Strike 1 to Jose. 12 for 44 to start this year with 3 homers.
And Rosario once again in the gap in left center field, giving the line. They're conceding the double to take away the alley.
Good breaking ball from Barrios, 0-2.
After the Sox leave here on Sunday, the Twins have the off day on Monday and then travel to Puerto Rico, San Juan to be exact, where they play 2 games against the Cleveland Indians. Then they return home for 1 off day. Most likely they will go to Tampa Bay and New York for 4. That is not an easy road trip.
Whew. Get tired thinking about it. 0-2 breaking ball is upstairs. 1-2 on Abreu. Sox will be in Oakland Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for 3, and then the off day Thursday before the defending champs come to town to start that next homestand.
We'd like to hope there's an off day Thursday, because there are some mutual off days, and that Thursday is one of them.
Well, Barrios right now looks like he's putting it basically wherever he wants it.
He's very comfortable. He's very loose, and it's surprising. A young man on a very cold day, especially a young man out of Puerto Rico, where he didn't play in a lot of cold weather, but he's finding the Twin Cities to his liking. This is probably the guy that will consistently be their number 1. It's hard to believe that they have anybody else with better stuff than him any place around in their system.
Sharp breaking ball. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Barrios. So 1-2-3 first for him. Morrison comes over this offseason. Escobar, Kepler, Buxton, and Castro.
The defensive setup for the Sox presented by UI Health, and this is how Ricky's going to throw them out there tonight. It's Nicky, Adam, and Abisail in the outfield, with Yolmer, Tim, Yoan, and Jose in the infield. Omar Narvaez for the 2nd time in a couple of days behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is Lucas Giolito. Now you can get the feel for the ball tonight because Barrios is throwing very good breaking balls early. Lucas has gone to war 2 straight starts without one of his big weapons, and that's the quick breaking curveball. And let's take a look at the umpires for the game tonight. Tony Randazzo has the plate. Lance Barrett at first. Nick Lentz at second, and Bill Welke, the crew chief, is at third. They switched them just before the game to make them much more comfortable.
Spring training forever. Oh, we're not in spring training.
It's true.
Brian Dozier leads it off against Giolito, and the first pitch is there on the corner for a called strike.
Brian Dozier has become a prolific home run hitter after a guy that started hitting the ball to right center field decided he was going to hit some home runs, and hit him he has.
Inside 1-1. Dozier, after the 42 homer season in 2016, put up 34 last year, and now he's building on 5 straight years with 30 or more doubles as well.
He's going to be a free agent, and he will be highly sought after because he can steal a base along with banging it.
Yeah, 5 straight years along with those 30 double seasons, at least 10 stolen bases too.
He's a guy that can pretty much do it all. Plus, he's an excellent second baseman. He made himself a good second baseman.
Twins really do look fairly similar, with the exception of the missing Jorge Polanco, who was suspended before the season started. So they're without Polanco. Escobar at shortstop instead.
They have an interesting dilemma at shortstop. We'll get to it after the resolution of this Dozier at bat.
2-2.
The thing is, if you think about putting Polanco back when the suspension is up, you can't play him in the playoffs. And so why would you take Escobar off shortstop? By the way, Escobar is hitting .290 with 7 driven in. So you take him off for a guy that can't play in the playoffs. Then you sit Escobar. Then you ask Escobar to go back in the playoffs. That's not going to happen. I think it's Escobar's position.
Dozier pops it up right side of the infield, and Abreu is there to make the catch next to his countryman for out number 1.
Joe Mauer has had an interesting year because he has really adapted to the 2 spot. He's not trying to pull anything. I mean, he'll pull the slow breaking ball, but what he likes to do is hit the ball to left center field. He likes to hit line drives. He's not talking about launch angle. He kind of scoffs at that because he doesn't have all that much power, but he is hitting it with authority to left center field. With that in mind, Adam Engel is over toward left center. Nicky Delmonico is toward the line in left, and Yolmer is in on the grass taking away the bunt.
This is the 15th season for Joe Mauer.
The contract lives on, and when he moved from behind the plate to first base, Mauer's a good hitter, no doubt about it, but for a first baseman, it's minus power. However, they need him to get on base ahead of Sano, Rosario, and if Morrison ever hits, him also.
You would imagine he would, considering his first half that he had last season.
Well, he can swing it, but he's a dead pull hitter. They've been throwing him away. He's been hitting into the shift and grounding out to the right side a lot. We'll see it tonight as he's off to that start below 100. And career batting, Joe Mauer among the best in the business.
On his way to hit number 2,000. Last 5 seasons, walks for Joe Mauer: 66, 79, 67, 60, and 61. And the year before that, 90.
You're not going to swing it too many off the plate, and Lucas is going to go inside on him.
Too far in, 3 balls and a strike.
There is a look at, you heard of supersizing your fries. They supersized their third baseman. He's 6'4". He's knocking at the door at 280. I think he's actually gone through that door.
Yeah, the door doesn't stand a chance.
No, he is a large man, and he can really, really swing it.
It's outside, ball 4. Giolito walks Mauer, and a 1-out base on balls. So Sano, you know, you feel like he's been around forever. He's just 24 years old still.
But when they had Trevor Plouffe at third base, they tried Sano in right field. But Sano's a natural third baseman, and if there's any better arms in baseball than his, we have yet to see it. This guy can throw with the best of them, and he's accurate. Talked to Gene Glynn, their longtime coach here in Minnesota. He said in the not too distant future, this man's going to win a Gold Glove at third base.
Gene Glynn could play some sports back in the day. He was a great basketball player along with his baseball tenure.
He's a good man. He's been around a long time. You don't want to throw Sano fastballs away. The league has been throwing him in on his hands. You can tie him up in there, and then you go to soft stuff away. If you start throwing fastballs middle out, he's going to take it over the center field wall.
Deepest part of the ballpark just left of that center field wall at 411.
Well, here is the danger pitch, and you really can't get deep enough in center field, but you'd love to see him roll over the top and ground to the left side because he doesn't have a whole lot of speed.
Two and 0. Sano goes after a ball low. It's 2-1.
He helped out Giolito there, swinging a pitch out of the zone, so he expanded his zone, and instead of 3-0, it's still a hitter's count at 2-1. What do you think offensively of this Twins team?
I think it's a lot of what we've seen before, but you get the feeling that Max Kepler is ready for a breakout season. He's the guy that I would look at and say, you know, by the end of the season, maybe he's up in the lineup a little further than he is now. As Sano hits a towering fly ball into right center field. Avi is back at the warning track, and he's got a duck. It's off the fence. Mauer to third. The Twins won't score as that ball went to the moon.
You just can't throw him middle away. He's too dangerous. And Avi just ran out of room. He didn't hit this ball on a sweet spot, but it's middle away with the fastball. We told you that's the danger spot for him, and he almost takes it out of the ballpark. High leg kick, getting some hang time. He thinks it's gone. So as he poses, he's not running. He takes a look to admire it, then he takes off. Mauer has to hold up. Avi cannot get to it as it bounds away. Double number 4 for Sano, who's got 8 driven in on 3 home runs and almost had his 4th.
Question 2 that I would pose to you is, do they have enough power in the lineup?
Well, here's the thing. You look at their lineup and it looks fairly solid top to bottom. Then you look at the hitting stats. 9 categories. The Sox are better than the Twins in 9 offensive categories, and we will categorize them for you. Sox are better in average. They're better in runs. They're better in hits. They're better in total bases. They're better in triples and home runs. They're better in stolen bases. Better in slugging and better in on-base percentage. So when you're better than a team in 9 positions, you look at the pitching to see why you're down and they're up. Sox are at the bottom, 5.05 ERA. Minnesota 6th in the American League.
To first base, and now Sano's caught up. Throw to second is in time, and the Sox turn 2. Thank you, Miguel. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your day. No score after 1.
Jose Abreu with great awareness, and they cut down Sano at second. Jose doesn't hesitate. Tim went back to the bag, which was his responsibility. Good heads-up play on both ends. Lucas out of the inning, as is Sano. Nice play.
Sox will take that and run with it as Matt Davidson stands in and takes a strike. And we'd like to say hello to a member of the White Sox family, Joe Ranovsky, who is watching the game. And his young son was. However, he fell asleep watching us, which I think is a compliment in some way.
Well, you could say it's a comfortable listen, or that we were so boring that he couldn't stay up through the first inning.
Thanks to the Ranovsky clan for that backhanded compliment. 0-2 on Davidson. 1-2 now. Matt Davidson among the best in Major League Baseball in slugging percentage to start this 2018 season, in large part due to his 5 home runs, including the game winner yesterday. Check swing. He did go, says the first base umpire Lance Barrett, and 1 away.
It's 3 strikeouts in the 4 men that Barrios has faced. Last year, very close to a strikeout an inning. This year, he's going to fly by that as he learns a little bit something about the stuff he has. Although you don't see a lot of changeups, he does have a decent one. It's only going to get better as he uses it more. And to go with that crackling breaking ball and 95-mile-an-hour fastball, he presents a challenge.
Well, you've said it before. Young pitchers sometimes want to show you everything the first time through. The changeup has remained shrouded this first time through for Barrios.
No real reason to show it yet because nobody's hitting what he's throwing anyway. As Todd Severson looks on, as does Matt Davidson.
Nicky pumps it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Delmonico, who's 8 for 29 with 6 walks already this year.
Nicky in the early going had a succession of very good at bats, but no luck. Lately, he's finding some holes and doing a pretty good job of it. That's a fastball inside. Let's see if he can keep him out of there.
Popped it up. Not a terrible pitch to hit, and Sano is underneath for out number 2. Free t-shirt Thursdays are back this season. Be one of the first 10,000 fans in attendance every Thursday home game to get a specially designed shirt. Get your tickets at whitesox.com today, right now. Website's never closed, Steve.
I thought it was like a 9 to 5 thing. Nope.
Steve's the proprietor of the only 9 to 5 website in America.
But I'm feeling pretty proud about the fact that I was able to get internet in my hotel room. What an age we live in.
It's true.
Unbelievable.
They're going to invent green goggles soon. Oh, there they are.
Well, Yolmer is a fashion plate. There's no doubt about that.
Ball and a strike on Sanchez.
I think Yolmer's going to hit the first hard shot off Barrios. Let's see if he'll come to him with something. This is the changeup. The first one was very good, diving away at 87 to go with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So you're talking about 8 miles an hour difference. The ideal for most pitchers is anywhere from 9, 10, or 11 miles an hour, and Barrios is right there with it. Very effective location for that one as Castro looks out as a young right-hander, waiting for Yolmer to get ready, and he wants a high fastball.
Higher than high, as you say. 2-2.
What do you think of this ballpark?
It's my favorite I've been to on the road.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely. They have the weather resistant limestone going on that you can see behind the plate and elsewhere in the corners, as that ball's up the middle, and Yolmer is the first base runner for the Sox tonight.
Yolmer did a good job because that was a breaking ball. He had thrown him his entire arsenal. The fastball down, the fastball up, the straight change, and now the hook, and the hook stayed middle in. Yolmer got the hands out, just enough of it to take it back up the middle, and that is the first hit of the game.
So Tim Anderson with Yolmer at first. '24-year-old Sox shortstop Tim Anderson, 6 for 6 in stolen bases already this year. Your thoughts on this park, Stoney?
I like it a lot. I think it's been a fair park. You know, hitters can't say it's a hitter's park. Pitchers can't complain much about it. And you know, it's just a gorgeous scene. Now it will get lively in the summertime, but so do all parks these days.
Kepler in right field squeezes out number 3 here in the top of the 2nd inning. Bottom 2 next, no score. We're just happy to have a game.
The first of many this year, but maybe the first of only this series.
Scheduled for a 4-game series, and we've kind of been apocryphal about the weather forecast, but tomorrow lots of rain, Saturday lots of snow, Sunday lots of cleanup, and hopefully a baseball game. And again, things could change.
It could.
Certainly.
You know, you're talking about Lake Superior, just like Lake Michigan, you never really know.
Here's Logan Morrison in the DH spot tonight for Minnesota. Takes strike 1.
Morrison most likely will pull the ball. There are times when they have 4 outfielders for them, 2 infielders, and leave the entire left side open, and he refuses to bunt to the left side. So you look at those numbers, slugging percentage at 129. First half last year, he was really good.
He pops it up. Back of home, Omar for out number 1. And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Rockwell Cooperative Telephone in Rockwell, Iowa. 20 minutes, half an hour away from Mason City. Hello, Iowa.
Whole lot of good folks in Iowa. Fritz Gorin, one of them, who watches a lot of our games. Kerry Beyer, another one, who watches a lot of our games. Mike Gatens, a host of folks that reside part-time in Scottsdale and live and from Iowa, along with Jill Estep, another Iowan who likes the Sox.
Are you accepting an Academy Award?
Well, I just have a lot of friends from Iowa, good solid folks, and they just happen to like the White Sox, which is a plus.
I'd like to thank our art director
I'd
as well.
I'd like to thank everybody
Keith
around. Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you.
Great folks in Iowa. Every time I'm there for a Hawkeye game or a Cyclone game, there's some Sox fan or 5 or 10 always around and wearing Sox gear. So we love our folks in Iowa, even if they don't live in Scottsdale in the off season. Scottsdale, that is.
Easy for you to say.
Uh-huh.
I think it's the pineapple that we ate personally before the game, which was absolutely delicious, but making us delirious.
Well, it's in season here at Target Field. 1-1 to Escobar. Now 2 balls and a strike to a very well-liked member of every team he's been on, Eduardo Escobar.
He's very much like Yomer. They can play anywhere. They give you a great outing wherever you put them, and they can swing the bat, and normally do against our Sox. Hitting .290 in the early going. He's a good man and is a very solid player.
Big swing, 2-2 from Giolito.
I talked to him before the game and I said, why is it they always give your job away only to see somebody get hurt and then in this case suspended, and then you get your job back? And he said, I don't know, I just work as hard as I can. I said, how do you keep your rhythm? And he said, I go at it every day like I'm going to start whether I do or not. And now he is going to start every day, and he's a huge plus for this team.
Thought you were going to say his response was, good to see you too. Why do they keep giving your job away? 2-2. That's outside from Lucas.
Well, I think the quote was, when are they going to give yours away, is the retort to me. So I don't know. You never know. We work at anybody's pleasure, and it's day to day like most of the guys when they get nicked up.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch number 25 of the night is outside, ball 4. So a 1-out walk for the 2nd inning in a row, and here comes Kepler. See the White Sox take on the Astros Friday, April 20th, 7:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans get an MLB Network White Sox tote bag. And be sure to stay after the game for the first Friday night fireworks of the season. Buy your tickets today at whitesox.com. And that tote bag is perfect for groceries. You can save yourself 7 or 14 or 21 cents. Bring your bag to the grocery store if you need to get supplies or whatever you need. It's perfect. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Max is getting better and better. A couple of years ago, he got his first stint up here, almost 400 at bats. He had 225. And then 242 last year. He got 511 at bats. He did hit 19 home runs, drove in 69. But this year, off to a very solid start. Max is getting better and better. Not much he can't do. He's very smooth in the outfield. He does have some pop, and he's got a good and accurate arm.
Ripped into the right field corner and foul.
Got that one off the end of the bat, so his hands are singing to him. You can see him on his left hand now, trying to get the feeling back. The last thing hitters want to do is catch it off the end of the bat, and that's what Kepler did. So he's thinking it's a double, but fortunately it's not. And Eduardo will have to go back to first base. He wants another bat, one that doesn't sting.
Going to say it's probably not the bat.
Operator
error, as they say.
I talked to Brian Dozier before the game. We'll get into that a little later on. And I talked about his bat. I said, did you ever use anything but that bat? And he goes, nope, maple all the way. It's harder. The ball flies off better. And he said, I never even considered ash. He said, maple is the way to go in this era of baseball. He said, very lively. And Dozier's making it seem that it is.
Yeah, hitters are very particular in terms of what bat they use, unless they go into a slump, and then they'll just say, whoever's hitting the ball, well, give me one of yours.
Whatever works. I mean, as long as the handle is close to their liking, the rest of it doesn't matter much. But they've found out something in baseball, though, these many years, that holds true in just about every sport.
That could be 2. And here it comes from Tim to first. Double play. 6-3. So the Sox infield positioned perfectly. Sox keep getting outs on shifts, and we'll go around Major League Baseball after this and hear from a former Sox player. and you may remember him, Trace Thompson with Oakland. Now we're going to see him soon, and there's highway robbery in the outfield. You see the reaction, and Trace going up like his brother Clay. And by the way, Clay's reaction on social media was fantastic. He DVR'd the game, he replayed it, and he had video on his reaction. He was just screaming into his phone. Clay
was a great play, and the ball never stuck in the glove. It looked like he had some stickum on the heel of the glove, and it just stuck there. Nice play by Trace, who's a great athlete.
Trace and Clay are actually living together because Clay's playing for the Warriors and Trace is playing for the Athletics, and they said it's like when we were younger. I go to baseball practice, Trace said. He goes to basketball practice, and we come back and have dinner.
Imagine being younger with a great deal of money. What that place could look like.
Probably not just one TV for the Thompsons, as Omar takes strike 2.
This will be the test for Omar because he very rarely, if ever, swings at a pitch out of the zone. Now Sano, in the defense that Paul Molitor likes, moves from third base where he takes away the bunt early in the count and moves to the first base side of second.
That's called strike 3. Nice movement from Barrios for his 4th strikeout.
After looking at that crackling breaking ball, he gets frozen on a fastball. You see where Castro wants it. He didn't throw it there, but he got the benefit, and Omar knows he just got outguessed. He was looking for anything but that in that spot.
You see all the run on that fastball, though, toward the inside corner.
Yeah, he's got electric stuff. Everything moves. That makes him very tough. And 4 strikeouts in 2 1/3 innings.
Here's Adam, who showed a bunt. Barrios was hopping off the mound.
If you are going to bunt, Sano is taking away the bunt. You want to push it to the right side. Not as effective with a right-hander on the mound as with a left-hander, however.
How many spots do you think Barrios has missed so far tonight?
Very few, as he's been aggressive. He's working quickly. What a novel concept. Work quickly, get your rhythm, and throw strikes.
Adam kind of got caught in between there on the breaking ball, so 1 and 2.
When you show bunt, you want a fastball. And you saw he squared around, ready for the push bunt to the right side, but it was a breaking ball and almost had the double clutch and no contact.
One, 2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. First one was a sweeping breaking ball. This one had more bite, and strikeout number 5. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your home team throughout the season and the official mortgage provider of the Chicago White Sox. Get started today at rate.com. Good to see some Sox fans making the trip to beautiful Target Field. Coming up later, we will see, this being the anniversary of the first game in this ballpark in the regular season, we'll see a time lapse of the construction of this ballpark, which is truly, if you've never been here, nestled right in the middle of the city.
When the ballpark came around, I remember Ron Coomer and I discussed building a restaurant just off the left field side. It was going to be Coomer's Corners. It was going to be in a great place, and this area has really grown up around this ballpark. It has rejuvenated downtown along with the Target Center. And so this is a vibrant downtown area now in the Twin Cities and Minneapolis. And we saw last night when the Timberwolves won in overtime to go to the playoffs and the people streamed out, was a sight to behold.
This is playoff city right now. The Timberwolves are in the playoffs. The Wild playing tonight in the postseason, and the Twins in first place, as you see Minnie and Paul, I believe. Oh, the Wild plays tomorrow, I'm told by Dave Ross. As that is strike 3. 3 punch outs for Barrios in the inning. The lovely Twin Cities.
local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. There's some Sox fans bundled up, and a good night for it. Buxton, who will bunt on occasion, is not bunting this year, so he's probably going to swing away.
There's a strike. I mean, you've talked about it in the past that if he really harnesses that weapon, he's going to end up with a bundle more hits.
Paul Molitor made the Hall of Fame, and he was an exceptional bunter, and he wants Buxton to do the same. But right now, Buxton's been hitting the ball hard. It's just that he's finding no holes. And that was the first curveball of the game for Lucas. So hopefully he'll be able to harness that, because he hasn't had it this year, and that's a huge weapon in his arsenal.
But again, at spring training, he did have the curveball.
It was wonderful. Yeah, it was a very good curve in Arizona, which is hard to do.
Broken bat parachute into left, and Buxton, the dangerous runner, is on to lead off the third. First hit for Buxton in the series, and his first at bat, and now Castro coming up.
Hitters will tell you it doesn't even out, but if you hit the ball hard a number of times and then get jammed and loop one into left field, pitchers will tell you it indeed does even out. That's a good fastball. Buxton pulls his hands in, able to get just enough of it to ease it in front of Delmonico in left. So speed burner on first base. 2 out of 2 in stolen bases this year, as the Twins not aggressive, but they're 5 out of 5 in stolen bases.
Buxton was not only a very good baseball player growing up in Georgia, but he was a football quarterback and wide receiver. He was a basketball player. And by the way, he was also the football team's punter.
I got a feeling that if he got a step on anybody, bye-bye. I don't think anybody caught him ever. Boy, is he fast.
There he goes. Buxton is out at second base. He doesn't think so.
Well, Tim had an interesting look on his face. It was a good throw by Omar. Tim had to come up. Buxton slid to the back of the bag. And the question is, on the swipe tag, did he get him? Buxton doesn't think so. He's either going to be 5 of 6 or 6 of 6, depending on the resolution of that. He gets a nice jump. Good throw by Omar. And we'll have to take a look at it and see if Paul Molitor wants to take a look at it. If early in the ball game, if he does call him out, he is out, and then it has to be definitive proof that he is out. And he's saying to take a look at it. Watch it again. Does he get him? I don't think so. I think the lace got him. I do believe the lace got him. So, you know, part of the glove got him. I guess the moral of this story is wear longer laces.
Well, I was going to say, if that's an out, infielders are going to have gloves that look like wind socks.
Or the Western vest of Roy Rogers or Kit Carson.
Bolo tie gloves. Yeah, I think Buxton's safe.
Yeah, I don't think the lace got him, and we'll see if there is inconclusive, definitive, incontrovertible, unbelievable proof.
The lace.
Huh. Well, does the hand get the bag when the lace gets the leg? He is safe at second, so Buxton was right. He's now 6 of 6.
They call that a slippery slope. If you call him out because of the lace, who knows what Pandora's box you're going to open up.
What happens is you get guys with laces that stretch from 90 feet from second to third, and then you tag everybody out when they're halfway.
It's going to be like the cars that are driving along that say "just married" with the tin cans attached. Buxton steals the base after further review.
Now Castro's got to pull the ball. He doesn't normally do that. We'll see if he has the ability up on the bat a bit out of Stanford to pull the ball to the right side.
Upstairs for a strike from Giolito. Former Houston Astro Jason Castro, the catcher, takes a strike. That was right down central. 1-2. Back to the top of the order, and Dozier next. breaking ball in the dirt. Buxton scampers back.
What a nice play by Omar Narvaez, because easily that could have flattened out and Buxton would have been at third base with nobody out. Watch it again. He wants it down. When a catcher does want it down, calls it down there, then he's much more easily able to smother it. Nice job turning over the glove, sliding to his right. There was good mobility to his right there by Omar.
Two is high. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Even with an open throw to third base, you have to take a couple of looks at Buxton, because he doesn't mind stealing third base, as Brian Dozier waiting patiently in the on deck circle.
Payoff. In the air, center field. Adams ready, so is Buxton. And Buxton wins.
That throw off the mark, and there's no doubt that Buxton was going to go. He's going to test Adam Engel. Adam set up very well because he was coming forward with this throw, so this part of it is really good. He sets up, he's coming forward. Nice job of that, but the throw is off the mark. Not too many guys going to throw out Buxton from that distance. Now you bring up Dozier, and I talked to him before the game, and I said, when did you go from an off-field hitter to a power hitter? He said he was playing golf with former hitting coach Tom Brunansky, star of the Twins at one point. And he said, Bruno said, look, you hit it a long way in golf. What's the difference between hitting it in golf or hitting it in baseball? And he said, well, not much. And Brunansky said it's very similar. You hit from a solid base. You make sure you open your hips so you can clear your hips, and then you become a pull hitting power hitter, just like your golf swing. He said he worked with Bruno over the winter. He worked with him in spring training, and all of a sudden he went from a guy that was a pity-pat hitter and a pretty good runner to a guy that was a force offensively. He owes it to Tom Brunansky and the hard work of Brian Dozier.
Ball and a strike on Dozier, and the gain for the batter is significant with Dozier at third. His speed. There's a ground ball to short. Tim's coming home, and Buxton is home.
Buxton scoring rather easily because Tim never got the handle, and he had a chance going home, but he never really got the grip of the ball. The infield was in. Good call by Ricky to bring the infield in. Tim is very unhappy because he had him dead to rights if he could control the ground ball. So Dozier does what Lucas wanted him to do. Tim could not get the handle, and he scores easily. The ball gets away. It's probably going to be E6 as he throws in to Buxton. Gets away. Omar has no chance, and Dozier hustles to second. It is E6.
So 1 in, Maurer the batter. We were talking about Tim Anderson throwing on the move the other day. That's just a hair trigger play over at shortstop. If you don't have the reins of the ball, you're just not going to make an accurate throw.
No, you have to get a grip, and you don't necessarily spin it to get the grip you want to normally throw. You have to grip it how you catch it, and in the transfer, Tim just didn't have a good feel for it.
Well, for Giolito, in 2 starts this year, 5 strikeouts in 11 innings and 2/3, and part of the reason is he's just not getting the swing and miss stuff that he's gotten in the past on the off-speed pitches.
His success this year is going to depend on the command of the curveball, and if it does come to him. It's been 2 games and 2 1/3 innings, and the curveball has not consistently come to him yet. It's Don Cooper looking on. He knows when you give teams extra outs, a good team extra outs, they will bury you with that. 27 is enough. You give them 29 or 30, you got a problem.
There's a strike. Let's take a look at what Giolito threw last year as compared to this year. The four-seam fastball is up, and the off-speed stuff is down across the board.
Half as many curveballs, but he had such a great curveball in spring training, you have to believe that it's going to come to him. He really relied on his changeup, and it's really a good mix of pitches.
Stroked into center field. Joe Mauer drives in Dozier, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Mauer did a great job of waiting back on that one. It was an off-speed pitch. He drives in his 4th run of the year. He pulls the ball away from the shift. But watch it again. And if you go with the hard stuff, we told you he's going to take the ball to left center. Any soft stuff he's going to pull, and that's what he did to the vacated right center field spot. Driving in run number 4 of the night. 2 runs home. And the way Barrios is thrown, this is not a good sign.
Giolito against Sano, who doubled to right high off that wall in right center field his first time. There's a strike.
That's a slider. It was up, but Sano had to check his swing and took a strike, and we're seeing again more of the high strikes. Hitters are starting to figure that out, and they're not taking near as many as they did the first week of the season. So here comes the hook.
There it was. He gets a tap foul. 0-2. I saw a number today saying that there have been fewer pitches in the strike zone to this point this year than ever before in the StatCast era. And maybe that's a response to all of the home run power by batters. Maybe it's a statistical anomaly so far, but pitchers are not throwing the ball in the zone as much.
2 factors. 1, the exit velocities, and 2, the cold weather. Guys are having a hard time getting loose and feeling their fingers. If you're a touch and feel pitcher, and a lot of guys are, everybody but the Blazers need touch and feel for their slider and their curveball and straight change. You can't feel your fingers all that well, and they use, you know, that little heating pad or so that they have in their back pockets a lot. It's not in play tonight because it's not bitterly cold. It will be, so Lucas should be feeling the ball.
Check swing, and he went around. So Giolito racks up his first strikeout. It's the second out of the 3rd inning.
Fastball's in, soft stuff away. That's been how the league has gotten out Sano. Good sharp breaking slider. You can see he doesn't like that pitch at all. Couldn't check up his swing and missed it by plenty. And that is a good sign for Lucas.
Yeah, mixing in the breaking stuff more. That's 3 out of 4 pitches in the sequence to Sano. At some point, if you don't feel it, you just have to say, I'm going to throw it anyway, right?
Well, you have to get the feeling, and what veteran pitchers will do when they can't get over the top on their curveball, when they're not getting any break, they will shorten their stride. Another thing to do is choke the ball back in your hand. Take it from out on the fingertips to back in your hand. You'll make it break more sharply. It's also slower.
Second base side, and Moncada for round number 3. Mauer's RBI single doubled the lead. 2-0 Twins.
Scranton. Coverage begins at 6, or you can stream the game on the NBC Sports app.
Hey, a Kopech start coming up. He threw very well in his first start. 4 innings, 8 strikeouts, 77 pitches for Michael Kopech.
It's always appointment viewing, as Michael is overwhelming with that fastball. The secondary stuff is coming around. It's just a matter of when, not if, he gets to the major leagues. Young man has all kinds of talent.
Avi Garcia to lead off the 4th. And that breaking ball continues to sway in the breeze for Jose Barrios tonight.
Certainly would love to see something that Jose is throwing that's hittable. So far, not much.
What do you go up there looking for?
You have to look fastball because he can't hit the breaking ball. If you look breaking ball, he's going to strike you out with the fastball. So there's no hitter, or very few hitters, that go up looking breaking ball, especially with the one that Barrios has. You sit on a fastball. If you get ahead, then you zone hit. You guess fastball and middle in or middle away, depending on what you like.
That hits Avi, and it caught Castro on the ricochet. Avi's going to first. Hope he's all right.
A lot of small bones in the hand, and that's why this is of concern. Looks like it got him maybe just above the wrist, and he appears to be okay, shaking it off and not asking anybody to come out, so that's a pretty good sign. Says he's okay. Talking with Joe Mauer. The hug. It's a family show. That's kind of nice.
It's for the kids, Steve. Right now, that's a better result certainly for Avi than Elvis Andrus, who broke his elbow on a hit by pitch, which is terrible news for Texas.
He's a very good player, and Texas is going to miss him.
Strike 1 to Abreu. The possible silver lining, which is a very tiny silver lining, but the Rangers can get more at bats for Jurickson Profar at that shortstop position.
Well, 6 to 8 weeks Andrus is going to be out, so Profar is going to get a chance to show finally what he can do on a daily basis, because he's been one of their top prospects for a long time and has not come to fruition yet.
Abreu tried to fight it off. Escobar to Dozier, and Jose is down after that ground ball. And let's see if the bat got him.
Well, that's what happened, and unfortunately, hopefully, he didn't turn an ankle. The bat goes out in front of him and then gets tangled up in his feet, and down goes Jose, lands over the bat. Very good chance he's more embarrassed than anything else. But this happens. There's nothing you can do except do what Jose did.
Herb Schneider, Brian Ball go over to take a look at Jose.
Sometimes you get a shin bruise because it got tangled up and then he couldn't get out of the way of it.
It's such a fluid game. These guys are so graceful in what they do, and then when it goes haywire, it just looks so strange. And Jose on the bench as Buxton is underneath out number 3. So pretty quickly Barrios through the 2, 3, 4 hitters thanks to a double play. 2-0 Twins. Voice promoted. Get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1.
And Jose back at first base, which is a good sign. You know, I think this Twitter thing might just have a future. I mean, that's just me, but as I'm discovering that you can actually interact with fans on Twitter, again, what a country. First I get it in my hotel room, and now I'm at the ballpark. I can actually interact with Gary Chandler, and will in a second, because I left something hanging earlier in the game about bats and what major leaguers discovered.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not going to answer it. I just discovered that. No, actually, it used to be that hitters would use a big barrel on their bats. Thin handle, big barrel. And then they realized that it wasn't mass through the strike zone. It was velocity. Velocity through the strike zone. So the thinner the head of the bat, the quicker the velocity.
Left-hand side. This is a long run for Nicky toward the line, and it's foul.
Hall of Famer Billy Williams, who finally got to a World Series with Oakland after playing a long and illustrious career with the Cubs, used to use the lightest, smallest bat I had ever seen. It was something like 31 ounces, 31.5 inches, because he realized back then it was velocity through the strike zone, not mass. And hitters have gone from 40-ounce bats, big barreled bats, to smaller bats that they can whip through the zone. You can hit it farther. Now with Maple, they hit it much farther. The bats are harder, but it is velocity, always has been. Same thing with golf clubs. Otherwise, they would use a golf head the size of a shoebox. They don't. It got very big. Now it's back again condensed because it is and always will be velocity.
So what's next, do you think?
Good question. I think the scientists are probably working on exactly what they can do to make hitters better. I wish they would do something for the pitchers. Don't know exactly what to do.
For pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, they're an endangered species these days, especially getting the ball hit back to him, as Zimmerman of Detroit found out.
With his impenetrable jaw, evidently, Jordan Zimmerman.
Well, I don't know how he made it through that, but we always talk about the hot corner. The hot corner 90 to 110 feet away. Pitcher 55 feet away when he delivers the baseball, and it comes back to you 100+ miles an hour. Sometimes you can't defend yourself because your hands aren't quick enough. And pitchers are finding out that they better square off their delivery instead of pulling themselves off to one line or the other.
It's really interesting to think about, too, for those of us who haven't pitched. You've gone through this entire motion. And even if you're squared up, I mean, Greg Maddux was fantastic. So many people were at fielding the position. Even if you're squared up, you still have just gone through a very athletic movement. So you can't be completely focused on the ball coming to you, right?
Well, that's usually the case, but guys like Mark Burley could catch just about everything, and primarily he did. So you can get it done, but not if you fall off drastically to one side. So that's ball 4, as Morrison is aboard to lead off the 4th. Not a good sign.
Here's your Sox Math question for today. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize from the road. Number of trips to Target Field this year for the Sox, multiplied by Davidson home runs entering today, minus the time zones the Sox will be in, how many during this road trip, and then you add Hector Santiago's jersey number this year. Can you beat Ryan Bobard, who won himself a White Sox quarter zip yesterday as the Sox Math champion?
He wins too. Does he get a half zip?
He trades it in for a big unicorn.
Oh, my favorite. I have one called Lucky, by the way. Had it since 1984.
Lucky the unicorn?
Keep it in my apartment? Yes. Doesn't eat much. That's good, because I'm on the road a lot.
Is he actually lucky, or is it ironic, like one of those nicknames?
I think it's Kafkaesque.
0-1. Swing and a miss. Nothing in 2 on Escobar. Morrison at first. Nobody out, 4th inning. Opening game of this series. We thank you for joining us this lovely Thursday evening. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti.
It's actually very nice here. I mean, it was nice today. Wasn't bad when we pulled in last evening. A little rainy, but not bad. And today, just beautiful all day.
I think Omar thought Giolito was going to get the strikeout, and Escobar just barely caught a piece of that foul ball. Mentioned Wellington Castillo. Not on the disabled list. He had the knee bruise, but right now, the backup catcher for the Sox today is Tyler Saladino. In the air to left field, where Nicky is underneath for out number 1. Join the White Sox Sunday, May 6th. It's Nurse Appreciation Day, presented by St. Xavier University. All Illinois nurses and their families and friends can join a specially priced ticket package. The package includes a game ticket and a special White Sox scrub top for the first 1,500 fans. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/nurse or call 866-SOX-GAME. On Saladino, he said back in spring training in 2016, he was talking to one of the former Sox players who he was in the minor leagues with, one of the middle infielders, Drew Garcia, and they were talking about kind of messing around as a catcher. And then Tyler brought it up to somebody else at the complex, and they said, yeah, it'd be a worthwhile asset to be able to be an emergency catcher. So when I say Saladino is the backup catcher in this game, it's not as though if he were in, the Sox would be in dire straits. He's been working on it. He caught Carson Fulmer's bullpen session. He warmed up Nate Jones in the bullpen at the end of that homestand. So Tyler takes this role very seriously, and he's ready to go.
If you're not going to start in the major leagues, you better bring a lot of gloves to the ballpark. And the fact that Tyler might extend his career by being able to catch, because nobody can afford the luxury for a long period of time of having 3 catchers on the roster. Takes away one of your pitchers in the pen.
Now, it's not as though the Sox would prefer to have him in the game, but he said, look, when Giovanni Soto was here in the past, he took Tyler aside and he said, look, if you're going to do this, let's work on some of the finer points. So he sat Tyler down. They worked on kind of angling your body off the outside corner to make sure that the catch was proper, so he wasn't reaching and dragging balls out of the zone. So it's definitely something Tyler takes into consideration pretty deeply getting ready for the game today.
Well, there's one thing that you really have to practice, and it sounds fairly barbaric, but it's not. You take a hammer, you beat yourself on the knee, and you get used to the pain you're going to experience if you do have to go back there, because regardless of whether you're hit on the shin guard or not, you're going to get hit in the top of your foot, you're going to get hit off the point of your shoulder, you're going to catch one under the mask. It's a tough position played by very tough men. You cannot go back there if you have any fear at all of pain, because you're going to eat it.
I'm not going to any of your parties, by the way, with the whole hammer on the knee thing. It doesn't sound like they're too great of a time.
Well, I'm not sure that catching is going to be your long suit, but if you want to extend your career, you have to be versatile.
Yep.
That's the nature of this game, and that man is versatile. But he's going to be a star in this game for quite some time, because there's not a whole lot of guys can run with him. And the Twins believe that eventually he's going to hit, and that speed will even be more important.
Morrison's off, and that's ball 4. 2 on via the walk here in the 4th inning. And Buxton comes up.
Well, Cooper's going out there to have a talk. 1 walk in the first, 1 walk in the second. 2 walks here in the 4th. The pitch is at 67, not conducive to hanging around for a while. And Don Cooper will impart to Lucas Giolito what he has noticed from the bench. Then Lucas will try to implement it, but Buxton is a hard man to double. And you would have to say that the way Barrios is throwing it tonight, if you don't shut him down here, not exactly lights out, but they're flickering.
Twins yesterday gave up an 8-1 lead. They're not going to want to do that again. And so you'd imagine they'd let Barrios go as long as humanly possible, especially with how much they taxed the bullpen yesterday.
Right now he's done it with a minimum of pitches, keeping just about everything in the strike zone. His wipeout breaking ball has been just that. Lucas coming in has walked 6 of 22 batters with runners in scoring position. That is 3rd worst among starting pitchers in the major leagues. League average 11.4%. Lucas is at 27.3. That's a product of pitching in terrible weather, and I'm sure because of his control in spring training and last year, he's going to work that out.
Well, the good news for him is the Sox have turned a couple of double plays tonight. One in the first, one in the second behind him to help wipe away some of those base runners.
He's going to be a tough man to double, except if there's a line drive at somebody.
Well, it's not a double play ball, but it certainly will get the Sox an out, you would imagine. Engel is on the case for round number 2. So here's Castro. Sox have just 1 hit so far. That was a Sanchez single with 2 out in the 2nd inning. On the ground to the right side, Moncada to Abreu, and that'll do it. Giolito pitches around the 2 walks, 2-0 after 4. Ricky, what makes a good suicide squeeze?
Well, the good suicide squeeze is obviously a play of surprise. You have 2 people having to do what they need to do. The batsman has to focus on the baseball and try to get the ball down, and the runner has to make sure that he's got the lead necessary enough to be able to score that run once the batter puts the ball on the ground. 2 different individuals have their own independent jobs, and they have to focus on doing what they do.
And what the Sox were trying to do in the 7th inning in yesterday's game before Davidson's game-winning home run the next inning was have Moncada lay down a suicide squeeze with Narvaez coming home. And talking to Ricky about that, Moncada was too worried about the runner.
Well, what Ricky tried to explain was that each and every player has a job to do on every play. And you don't worry about the job the other guy does. You worry about the job that you have to do. And in this case, it was laying it down.
That breaking ball is outstanding for Barrios. He's got strikeout number 7 this evening. And 1 out for Sanchez. And we saw Ricky Renteria go over to Moncada after that suicide squeeze and say, hey, listen, here's what I'm trying to tell you. Lay the bunt down. Don't worry about the runner. So 1 out here in the 5th, and Sanchez takes a breaking ball for a strike. I mean, that is as good of a slider, curve, whatever you want to call it, as we've seen this year.
It's a hybrid pitch. I mean, it's between both and very effective. Yolmer's the only guy to solve him, as that one drifts out of play.
2 strikes on Yolmer, whose hit was to center field in the 2nd inning.
That is the only man to solve Barrios. He had the same thing in Baltimore where he was dominating his opening start. Very rarely will you see anybody go the distance, but especially a young pitcher who throws as hard as Barrios. But he mystified the Orioles, as he's doing to the Sox tonight.
0-2. Yolmer just barely gets a piece. Jose Barrios, 23 years old, out of Bayamon, Puerto Rico, has really struggled on the road over his career with a .565 outside of this ballpark, but here he has been superb. And once again tonight, check swing, no go.
Bill Welke says nope, he's the crew chief, so the call stands.
If he wasn't the crew chief,
the call would stand. And Yolmer did indeed not swing. He carried his hands forward, making the bat look like it didn't go around. Good technique. A lot of guys will just drop the bat. I mean, everybody has a technique on a check swing. You've got to get very strong hands and wrists to get the checkup call, but also you have to have good technique. Yolmer did it well there.
Inside out swing and a foul ball from Sanchez. Jose Barrios had a fly ball rate of over 60% here last year. And we have seen a couple of ground balls so far today, but not a whole lot well hit at all.
The only guy getting decent swings is Yolmer, with 7 strikeouts and no walks and only 1 hit. Barrios has been dominating. The young man out of Bayamon, Puerto Rico, will get to see a lot of his family and friends as the Twins go back there for a pair against the Tribe in what should be a pretty tough road trip for them. It's 2 against the Tribe and then Tampa Bay for 3, culminating with 4 in New York against the Yankees.
Ground ball to second and 2 down. And here is your Sox math answer for today. 3 trips to Target Field, 5 homers for Davidson, 15 -2 time zones, Central and Pacific. Hector wears 53. 66 is your answer. Ashley 22 Sanders is the winner. Two out for Tim, who takes high. Tim a fly out to right in the 2nd inning. Barrios 7 strikeouts, no walks.
Tim would be one of the most unlikely to walk. However, he is walking more than his share this year. And he's fallen behind 2-0.
Last year for Tim Anderson, 13 walks in 146 games. He's got 4 in 11 so far this season. And he says he's going to hug Darryl Boston every time he gets one. Check swing, ball low, 3-1. That's the type of pitch we've seen Tim swing at in the past.
Well, it's a lot easier to lay off when you're 2-1 as opposed to 1-2. So the key is always try to get ahead of the pitcher. The pitcher is trying to get ahead of you. That's a classic confrontation within a team sport.
On the ground to the bag, and it hits the bag, confounding Sano. So it's a 2-out hit for Tim down the line.
You only have one choice on this, and that's go get it before it gets close to the bag, because you have to charge on Anderson. Sano rounded the charge. It hits the bag, eats him up. It is a base hit, the 2nd hit of the night, and it keeps the inning alive. As deep as he played, he couldn't get to the ball in time. The ball eats him up. And a chance with Omar coming up. Tough play for any third baseman, especially when you're back.
Now Omar with a tip into the glove for strike one. .68 pitches only from Barrios. And a throw to first. Not in time. Tim just barely got back. Mauer thought he had him.
Barrios has a good quick move to first base, and he makes a solid throw.
Debo, get out of the way.
They're taking a look in the dugout to see if they want the appeal. Paul Molitor has already appealed once and won.
So he still does have his challenge. So this is going to be a review, it seems, as the umpires converge.
We'll take another look. Tim was not breaking towards second base. The question is a tag on him before the hand got there? It actually appears that it was. We'll have to see if there's incontrovertible, indisputable, indubitably a reversal in this call.
What
is
do you
that
think?
How it's written? Is that how it's written?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, the Twins outfielders are coming in. They truly believe that it's inning over, and the umpires are saying, why don't you stay out there for a bit, so if in fact the inning does roll on, you guys don't have to walk all the way back. We want to save you some steps, unless you're wearing one of those watches that chart the steps, and then come on in.
You get your Fitbit on.
Yeah.
Omar was walking up toward the batter's box. You're just going to give Barrios a look, evidently, for his warm-up tosses.
So Daryl Boston, what does he think? Doesn't really matter, but well, I don't know.
I think that's an out.
I think that's probably going to go the other way and out of the inning, which is why the outfielders have walked in. Tag in his hand's not on the bag yet, so we'll see if he gets some clemency from New York.
Big time start turn for the guy holding the equipment tonight.
He's getting a lot of air time.
They should have a contest for the fans in the stands. One person at every game gets to hold the equipment.
Well, the good thing about it is the training for that is not that difficult. You just get a couple of kegs of libation around your neck so that all of the vertebrae in the cervical area get used to carrying that around. And you do that for a month or two and you're ready to do exactly that job in the major leagues. Get a lot of air time. It's a high visibility job. Fortunately, it doesn't pay anything. So we'll see.
It's a long review. Again, we were talking about it the other day. Replay reviews have been significantly quicker this year, but this one's going to hurt the average.
Well, this is a tough one because it's really hard to tell if the hand is back before the tag.
And that's why, if you're sitting at home and you're a Sox fan, which you likely are, you're saying, well, if it's that hard to tell, you can't overturn the call.
And if you're a Minnesota fan, you say, well, it's pretty easy to overturn the call.
Yep, that's the battle we're waging. That depends on when the heel of Tim's hand hits the base. What gets there first, tag or fingers?
Again,
had some clarification, by the way.
Well, it's a case of long laces on the part of Joe Mauer.
Well, clarification on the definition of tag in the rule book.
You're it?
The laces alone are not part of the glove for tag purposes. So though we had a wonderful time,
it's not relevant.
It's not currently relevant.
Which is most everything we say, by the way. But in this case, it is not relevant.
Speak for yourself there, Charlie.
Oh, sorry. Charlie, huh? It's come to that.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Chuck Stone. This is a long review.
It is indeed.
Should come back safe if it's this long. Yeah, there it is.
That means that the call stands, not necessarily that it's the wrong call. And
how about Tim? He says, "Whoa!"
I think I got away with one. Thanks, Tim. I think he did also.
That's 3 minutes 37 seconds on the review. The average as of a couple days ago for the year was about 120.
This was a tough one, obviously, and nice call about the fact that if it takes that long, you're probably going to let the call stand. And you called me Charlie.
No.
Jeez.
Really rings the bell. Oh, he's going to do it again. Jose Barrios has a sense of humor.
I saw Hall of Famer Juan Marichal against Maury Wills, one of the prolific base stealers of that era, go 9 times to first base and pick him off on the 10th time.
It's a focus issue.
He was persistent.
Close pitch.
So as long as you get a break to keep the inning alive, let's see if Omar can get the job done. Rosario, who's a pretty decent left fielder with a very good left field arm, is maybe not quite deep enough. He thinks that Omar's going to loft it in front of him. Maybe he can throw a surprise party.
Time now for the Xfinity fast pitch. And this right here was the fast pitch of the game, powered by Xfinity, America's best internet service provider. Omar was guessing and chose the wrong door. One and two from Barrios. On the ground, Barrios flags it down, and he can do everything tonight. Tim stranded at first, 2-0.
He really made an impression in spring training, and he continues to swing the bat. You get a catcher who can swing it, he's going to be here in the not too distant future. There are a lot of Sox fans in attendance, and there always are in the Twin Cities when the Sox come to play.
This is the one weekend of the year where you can say this phrase, which hasn't been heard around here very much. I wish the Metrodome was still standing.
That's certainly not heard too much. In fact, when it was blown up to delirious cheers.
Thought you were going to say $20,000 worth of improvements.
No, not a whole lot of people liked it. I know Mike Ditka didn't like it very much as he came up to play the Vikings. What do you call it, the Roller Dome? wasn't too happy with the surroundings.
On the ground, Tim. One hopper, and Jose swallows it up for out number 1. Just had to absorb the contact, as they say, and 1 down.
Although Tim likes to throw on the run, most of the time it's a little better than that, but he does get Dozier, who can really run. He gets him by a wide margin. Again, doesn't handle the ball quite as well as he would like. That produces that throw. Jose does a nice job of picking it. Good first baseman is going to save you a lot of errors, and Jose just saved Tim.
And he's become a much better first baseman.
Yes, he has.
Now Joe Mauer, who ripped a changeup into center field in the 3rd. Joe Mauer, whose career dates back to the Metrodome days back in 2004, his first 35 games with the Twins. He was the MVP the year before this ballpark opened in 2009.
Well, his line drives in the Metrodome went out of the park. His line drives here are doubles. That's the biggest difference for him.
That's in there for a strike. 1 and 2.
He's one of the few guys around who doesn't worry about getting 2 strikes, because he has so much confidence in his stroke and his ability to put the ball in play that he will wait down in the count to get the 1 pitch in the sequence that he likes to hit. The great hitters, and Mauer is one of those, the great hitters will wait long enough till you make a mistake.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and there is out number 2. And let's go back to the first out of this inning and see how it happened.
Take a look at the pick. Now, I talked with Paul Carnarco, and he told me that first baseman would rather use it on the backhand, but sometimes you can't. So Jose using it on the forehand, he looked like a hockey goalie there. And Tim comes across, 1 hop throw. Jose makes the play. I don't know why they feel about the backhand, but most first basemen will tell you much more comfortable. They get a better line of sight with the backhand than the forehand.
Underrated part of that play too was the fact that he kept his foot on the bag at that awkward angle. Not that we're rating portions of that play, but that was underrated.
Okay, I'll go for it.
Thanks. It's down and out, 1 and 1 on Sano, who doubled in the first.
There you see the defense with 3 on the left side, and Jose well off the line on the right side. You can stay there pretty much all night, and he's not going to hit it real well. Try to sneak a fastball by him away, and it turns into a double like in the first inning. 1 more breaky away with Sano pulling off the ball. He's got no coverage, low and away.
That's where it was, and he takes. Giolito officially tonight by StatCast has thrown 5 curveballs and 18 sliders. 9 changeups.
Either one here gets a job done.
2-2. Towering pop up left side. Tim is underneath, and there is out number 3. The Metrodome is gone. Target Field, constructed before the 2010 season. Here it is. This is how fast they did it. Who says Rome wasn't built in a day? Dane Dunning on the road at Myrtle Beach last night. 6 1/3, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. His ERA is .79. 11 1/3, 16 strikeouts for the former Florida Gator, with Omar Vizquel's dash so far this year.
We talk about the fact that you either have or have not pitchability, and he has command of the strike zone like nobody in this organization. Got the best control, rated the best control, good feel, can use all 4 quadrants, up, down, in, out. Pitchers are working more vertical these days than they are horizontal. Dane Dunning can use and command all 4 quadrants. He is going to be a major league pitcher as soon as he gets the innings under his belt. And here's a breaky ball.
0-2. For Engel. 7 strikeouts for Barrios, who has ample jewelry on the mound.
He's going to get a lot more. He looks like a Cy Young Award winner tonight. He's got some stiff competition. Some of it in Cleveland. Carrasco is 3-0 for the Indians. Corey Kluber is always a candidate to win 20. Chris Sale might be his year to win the Cy. Max Scherzer always a candidate. But Barrios got a chance to be right there with those guys.
We tried the inside corner and just missed. 2-2.
Adam tried to take it off his elbow to get on base and did a nice job of leaning in. There are hitters in baseball that make a living like that with on base percentage by getting nicked by pitches inside.
2-2 is there for strike 3, so 1 down. We told you about Dane Dunning. Here is his thought earlier this week about what he learned in spring training.
Believe it or not, James Shields, you know, he taught me a different grip with a curveball, and I tried it out, and it's been working really well. I mean, just from really any of the guys. I was throwing with Kopech and, you know, Fulmer and Giolito and all them, and just, you know, picking things here and there from all of them.
We've talked about the value of James Shields in the clubhouse for this team as a veteran leader, and there is a tangible example of it, teaching a new grip to one of the young pitchers, Dane Dunning.
I said early in the year, it doesn't really matter how many games that James Shields wins, although he's throwing very well right now.
You can finish your thought. This won't come down for a while.
Well, eventually it will, and it will be caught as it was by Rosario. But his real worth to this team is teaching the young kids exactly what to expect in certain situations, changing the grip of one guy, talking about holding a runner close, talking about varying his times. James has always had one of the great moves to first base. He's going to talk to the pitchers about the right-handed move to first and what exactly they can do to either, 1, speed it up, 2, disrupt the rhythm of the base stealer, looking back at second base a couple of times, using the slide step or not. That's his expertise. He's been around 8 opening day starts. He commands respect because of what he's done, and he's integral to the success of the young pitchers on this team.
When you saw some more veteran leadership there, showing the young pitchers when it's time to go inside, when it's cold out and you're not pitching.
That's usually just about any time.
By the way, thanks to the new voice of the Dash, Joe Weil, for that piece of his interview from the other day from down there in Winston.
That's good stuff. Guys in the truck, nice job.
Pretty sure Joe's not listening to this game, and
who could blame
nobody
him?
from Winston-Salem is, because they're about to go into extras in Dashland.
You cannot beat free baseball. Into the night they play.
Knowing you for a couple years, you can actually subtract baseball from that sentence and put anything in the blank, and it'll be terribly accurate.
It's the least I could do. Although this has been a tough year for that. I keep going places with you.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Garcia. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
You'd like to see the young man make a mistake. He doesn't seem intent on doing that.
8 strikeouts, no walks, couple of hits, and time called. 82 pitches, and again, they had to use the bullpen quite a bit in yesterday's game with that 8-1 lead getting whittled away by the Astros. So Barrios isn't going to leave this game anytime soon. You wouldn't imagine.
I would think maybe 110, 112 would be tops tonight. Depends on how quickly he gets there, and he's throwing all strikes. He's hit one, erased by a double play, that coming in the 4th inning. The strikeouts have been prevalent just about each and every inning. 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, none in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and 1 here in the 6th.
3-2. That's there. Strike 3. 1-2-3 inning again for Barrios, and he leads 2-0. Conveniently located by Gate 5 off 35th Street. The depot can be accessed during games via the bridge by Section 145, and it's open 12 to 5 on non-game days. For current deals and promotions, follow the @White Sox store on Instagram.
Meantime, Lucas is throwing well. He should only have given up 1 run, but he's run into a mound opponent that's giving up nothing. So Lucas down 2-0. Hoping to hold him right there because there's no margin for error. The man on the mound opposing you has got enchanted stuff here tonight once again. His first and his 3rd start have been wonderful. The one in between, not so much.
These have been 3 grinders now for Lucas Giolito.
Yep. Well, it's really teaching him how to win with less than your best. And that's a lesson that all young pitchers have to learn.
Off the glove of Moncada into right field, and let's see, Rosario's on his way to second, throws off the line.
Looks like Tim Anderson got a face full of glove for his efforts at second base as Avi got to the ball, pretty much knowing that Rosario was going to challenge him. Looked like a 360 spin off the glove of Moncada. Rosario thinking 2 right here, and he takes off. Avi just a slight bobble. The throw off the mark. Rosario with a very aggressive slide into second and keeps his foot on the bag. He's hit the ball very hard 3 times to the right side. And here he's testing the arm. And he wins and hits Tim in the face with his left hand.
And now scrambling off the bag to draw Giolito's attention.
Logan Morrison is forced to do what he really wants to do, and that's pull the ball. Tim Anderson, who normally would play Morrison on the first base side of second, he's got to play straight away to keep Rosario close.
And Morrison skies it on the left side. Delmonico is there for out number 1, so Morrison is not been productive in a couple of at-bats. He has walked so far to lead off the fourth.
I can understand that swing if you got 2 strikes. That is not a good swing, not a well thought out at bat when you have a 0-0 count. You got to get something to pull. You can afford strike 1. Maybe you don't want to go down strike 2, but on the first pitch of the at bat, that is not productive. And when you're struggling, things like that happen.
Well, the other part will drive you crazy is, as you said, he pulls the ball anyway.
Well, they had a defense against him with 4 outfielders this year and only 2 infielders. They were both on the right side of the infield, and he pulled it into the shift, or tried to, and that time little flare to left field doesn't advance Rosario.
So now Escobar takes a strike. Escobar tried to change the strike zone as the pitch was coming in by squatting down, and plate umpire Tony Randazzo said strike 1.
Escobar's been a much better hitter from the left side this year. Only 5 right-handed at bats. Now that he's the everyday guy, he'll get more.
Strike 2, but it bounces away. So Rosario to third.
Now you've got to bring the infield in. Omar actually hit that ball, hit his glove before it hit the dirt. He was anticipating it hitting the dirt before he hit his glove, and it trickles away. Heads up base running by Rosario, and the infield is in at the cut of the grass.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
That was a wild pitch. Now probably as important an at bat as there is all night. You go down 3-0. It's going to be tough unless they take Barrios out.
Good breaking ball for strike 3. Giolito gets what he wants there. Omar a glance at third as the ball hit the dirt, and the out completed. So 2 down. Huge pitch by Giolito, and here comes Kepler.
This is a big strikeout. Omar wants it in the dirt, pretty much gets it there, then it trickles away, but he freezes Rosario, which is what you do. You got all kinds of time for the batter. I think a pitch around might be in order here. Kepler's been swinging it very well. You've got the righty advantage in Buxton coming up next. If you don't pitch around him, you got to get him out of the strike zone. You cannot afford to throw him a hittable strike here.
In the air, center field. Angles underneath. And the Twins strand a runner at third. Lucas Giolito gets out of the shackles in the 6th. It's 2-0.
and Vincent Goodwill as they break down the summer ahead. Plus talk with Bulls VP John Paxson.
Our buddy Will Perdue, who stopped by the booth a couple of days ago.
That was a wonderful interview. We have to thank Will for making us look good. He's a very amiable guy, very large man.
He was standing in the back of the booth for a while, and I felt like there were two people stacked on top of one another behind us. Barrios to Abreu, pitch number 86.
That ball started out a strike and dove down and into Jose, producing him hitting the top of the baseball and can do nothing with it. If that one stays true on the inside corner, he's probably got a double in the left field corner. So here's a breaking ball. Stay with it, Jose.
He does, and takes it 1-2. Barrios 9 strikeouts tonight. And you take a look at the most career strikeouts for pitchers born in Puerto Rico. He may be on that list at some point, but 4 of the top 5 played with the White Sox. How about that? Strikeout number 10 of the night for Barrios.
Well, the guy at the top of that, Javier Vazquez, had great stuff. And you mentioned earlier that pitchers have a tendency to show all of their pitches to hitters early in the game. Javier Vazquez was the guy that epitomized that. He wanted to show you every pitch he had. Many of them were overpowering, but he showed it all to you each time up. Consequently, he never won as many games as he should have with the stuff that he had. And Vazquez was a nice guy, a terrific pitcher, but if you look at his career numbers, they were good. They could have been great.
There's a strike to Matt Davidson. But the Sox get the reputation, and rightfully so, for being a place where Cuban players have found a home and thrived in their history. But until we were looking at it earlier today, didn't realize the Puerto Rican ancestry that's come through, especially on the mound. 4 of the top 5 guys from Puerto Rico in strikeouts have been through the Sox. And there you see Abreu, who's held the mantle for Cuban Sox players of this generation.
Manny Minoso in a few generations ago.
Number 11 for Barrios.
Well, if there is a problem, the only problem is when you strike out a lot of people, you're going to throw a lot of pitches. However, if you don't walk anybody, it becomes a moot point. So 11 Ks, and Barrios rolls right along. Lucas Giolito's done a great job, but he's run into a buzzsaw on the guy you're looking at. That's a tie of a career high, which I assume he is going to break here very shortly. Hopefully not this at bat.
Last time he did it was against the Sox as well last year.
Let's pass along best wishes and a speedy recovery to Bud Fisher, who's sitting watching this game with Jack Ruby, which means Bud is already asleep with that witty repartee.
I think we're realizing that the ideal way to watch a Sox game is to not have your name mentioned. One and one. Oh my goodness.
Well, that ball started outside and at the last instant took an abrupt turn. And now Sano, as he's done all night, taking away the bunt early in the count and then moving to the first base side of second. That's a very large man plugging up the biggest hole on the infield.
Another wicked breaking ball.
After a couple of curveballs like that, you start thinking about a high fastball. And if Nicky's thinking about it, maybe he'll catch up to it. Is that one late breaking? And there you see the defense. Good coverage on the right side.
Pretty soon we're going to have to just discard notions of positions, because the third baseman on the right side of the infield is certainly strange to look at. We've seen the 4-man outfield that you've talked about before this year, and that's happened.
5-man infield.
Yep.
That happens sometimes late with 2 outfielders when you're trying to cut down the winning run. But there you see how they defend Nicky Delmonico. We've seen a steady diet of breaking balls. You'd think a fastball would be forthcoming, but We'll see what Castro has in mind. Inside fastball. Stay with it, Nicky. Almost got an elbow burger for his efforts.
Always served in the Steve Stone restaurant, the elbow burger.
It's a bargain at twice the price. I prefer the walleye, actually, which is prolific here in the Twin Cities.
2-2, ripped to second and over Dozier. So a 2-strike hit for Nicky Delmonico, and suddenly the tying run comes up here in the 7th inning.
That was not a well thought out at bat. The reason is he kept throwing breaking ball after breaking ball. Eventually, Nicky got to it. You speed up his bat, a breaking ball away. You see 6 or 5 in an at bat, you're going to make him pay. That high fastball was sitting there waiting, and Barrios unhappy with himself. One too many breaking balls. Nicky is happy, and the young man who's made very few mistakes. That was a mistake of thought as opposed to a mistake of action.
1 on 2 out. Yolmer, who has a hit in the 2nd inning tonight. That's off the plate. Maybe the best news about that at bat from Nicky, not only its result of the single, but its length as well, and forcing the pitch count to rise for Barrios.
And also, you bring up the guy that's actually hit the ball the best tonight, Yolmer Sanchez, and he hasn't hit it well. It's Ryan Presley throwing in the pen.
Right side of the mound, and the easy flip to second base to retire the side. 2-0 in stretch time in Minnesota.
One in the 1st inning, a rocket. Heads up play by Jose. Good tag by Tim. Sanoa's hung out to dry. And then pretty easy 6-3. It's the defense that got him that time, as Kepler grounds into 2 and out of the inning, and Lucas Giolito a happy man. And by and large, he has thrown very well tonight. Just run into a guy who's thrown it better.
First pitch swung through by Buxton, so 0-1 from Giolito, whose command seems to have improved over the course of the game, not only in terms of walks, but in terms of what our eyeballs are telling us too.
Well, the rhythm has really come to him as he's moved along. He's getting that breaking ball over the plate, which is a great sign for him. We figured tonight would be the night. After 2 freezing nights, this is moderate comparatively. It's still not warm, but certainly a lot warmer than his first 2 starts in Kansas City and in our ballpark at Guaranteed Rate Field.
Lucas Giolito, 23 years old, making start number 3 of the year for the Sox after joining the team late last year. That was a nice pitch. Jammed Buxton. Tim is there for out number 1. Entertain your group of MVPs in a suite this season. White Sox suites offer the best experience and value. Single game suites start as low as $2,000. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. Steve may pass by your suite after the game and scrounge for some food.
Anything left over? Possession is 9/10 of the law. Isn't that right, Counselor?
I didn't take the bar.
Well, but you graduated, didn't you? Or did they throw you out?
No, I graduated, yeah.
Oh,
but I don't think that's actually written anywhere in a statute book. Possession, colon, 9/10 of the law. Book's 100 pages, 90 of it is possession. It's up high, 2-0 on Castro, who's 0 for 2. Lovely setting for baseball here at Target Field. And it may be a little drenched over the next couple days.
Well, it's going to have a different look, certainly.
Could be snowbound.
A carpet of snow.
Yeah, the forecast suggests rain tomorrow, snow on Saturday, and then the question would be if that snow does fall as prolifically as they've planned. The question is, how quickly can you get it off the field, and how much of it is there to play on Sunday, which seems to be improving the forecast for the final day of this series before the Sox head to Oakland.
Farquhar and Bummer. Farquhar, the right-hander, Bummer, the left.
(3-1) in there for a strike.
That's 100 pitches for Lucas, who has been stretched out tonight. He's been very good. A little rough in the early going. A few more walks than he would like, but after the hit batsman, he's done a nice job. After the 2 walks in the 4th inning, he's done a very nice job.
That's ball 4. He's mad at himself, and likely because he knows that that could have been his final pitch.
You got Dozier coming up, and Ricky, for the moment, is saying go get him. I like this because what Ricky is teaching Lucas is learn how to pitch with a fatigued arm. He's not near as strong as he was when this game started. He's saying, look, you're going to be one of my mainstays. I want to stretch you out. I want to see you get out of a tough situation. You give a pitcher confidence. You don't know the resolution of this. It's a good move by Ricky Renteria, instilling confidence in Giolito to get it done with what he's got, not what he had.
Last year he did the same thing for him. So it was the at bat against Jose Iglesias early in his White Sox tenure against the Tigers. There was a long fly ball foul left side after Ricky allowed him to stay in that game. Giolito then finished the inning and got through it, but Giolito wasn't sure he was going to come out for the rest of that inning, and now Dozier down the line. Castro booking it. Delmonico fumbles it in the corner, and a stop sign at third. So 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Thought maybe Castro would push it. He did not. And it's still 2-0, but trouble brewing.
Now is when you go get him, because now you want the lefty-lefty advantage. And this one rattles around in the corner. Nicky Delmonico having some problems as this one gets away, but fortunately it is the catcher running as the lead runner, and Castro does not score what would be a very tough run to overcome, the 3rd. So runners in scoring position, and that is going to be it for Lucas Giolito, who did a whale of a job, and as he walks out, we'll step out and be back after these messages.
TV. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details where you can watch bullpen door malfunctions.
And here's what happened. We'll take a look at Aaron Bummer trying to come into this game. Now, he's not able to do it because he can't get out of the bullpen. Paul Molitor believes this is stalling tactics to get more pitches for Danny Farquhar. So Paul is incensed. He comes out and saying, hey, what's going on here? Let's go. My hitter's freezing, and you're not coming in the game. Paul, relax. I know you're high strung, but you got this game, not in hand, pretty good. And now it's Mauer against Bummer on our Lakeside call to the pen. Aaron Bummer comes in, a tough task. You got to pull the infield in. You got a contact hitter up in Joe Mauer, who's already driven in one tonight. There you look at the numbers, on for the 7th time. 2.70 ERA and some pretty respectable numbers.
They don't make those doors like they used to. The clicker wasn't around.
Sometimes you just can't get out of the pen. That happened to me a lot in my career.
It's a close pitch, but the catch didn't allow for the borderline call, so ball 1.
If Aaron doesn't get Mauer for whatever reason, you figure he's not going to be around to face Sano. But if he does get Mauer, you walk Sano and take your chances with Rosario.
Similar pitches first two. 1 ball, 1 strike. Aaron has only allowed 9 hits and 49 tries for left-handers in his short Sox career at 184.
He's going to bury a sinker inside to Mauer. That's probably the place to go, trying to force a ground ball to the right side. So with Castro at third base, you don't have to play all that shallow. Guys are back halfway in the infield.
In the air, left side, foul territory, and strike 2. You mentioned the speed of Castro over at third. There's not much of it, and that's the reason that the StatCast sacrifice fly windows are so far back in certain spots. Let's go, Joe, they chant.
He's a favorite here, has been for a long time. That sinker moving for Aaron Bummer. Everything he throws moves, and if he can harness it, keep it in the zone, he's going to be in good shape. He's forcing Mauer to swing, something he doesn't want to do very often. Has a swing rate of under 30%. That's the lowest in the major leagues. Average swing rate 45.5%. Joe is very selective. He does not want to swing at anything out of the zone. You keep it down, you get that ground ball to the right side.
1-2. He didn't swing. Bummer covering the plate. No movement from Castro. Twins got their 2 runs in the 3rd inning. An error and a couple of hits in that inning. Mauer drove one of them in. Two and 2.
Nice job by Lucas Giolito as he looks on pensively.
Up the middle and trickling through. It's going to bring 2 home to double the lead for Minnesota. Not well hit, but well placed.
Aaron Bummer got the job done. Unfortunately, it found a hole through a drawn-in infield because Mauer did make contact. We said that he doesn't swing often. When he does, it's very effective. A .309 lifetime batting average. Paul Molitor certainly likes it, and Joe Mauer salutes these fans who have loved him for a long time. Hit number 2,000 for Joe Mauer. Congratulations, Joe. The fans here have loved you. He's a native son of this area, and he passed up football at Florida State to get 2,000 hits for the Twins, and the fans here will be eternally grateful to Joe Mauer. Came in with 3 runs batted in all year. He's got 3 tonight.
Ball number 1 to Sano. Joe Mauer, who at times was maligned because of the length of that contract and the power decline, not by a lot of folks here, but certainly there are some people who said you'd like to have more muscle at that position. But this got the job done.
You get 2,000 hits at any position, you're getting the job done. And Joe has always been a pretty good contact hitter. There they tear away to 2,000.
I thought for a second he lost 98 hits.
We'll try it again. You get another celebration when you get 98 more.
But look, just as a quick tutorial, if you're going to do that, take off the 1 first and make it a 2 at the front.
You know what? I think that this would be good educational for that fan. Go down in the stands and explain to him how to do it. It's not that cold.
Under promise, over deliver. It's one of baseball's unwritten rules.
Fortunately, it is unwritten.
Sano clips that into the glove, and that's strike 3. So 2 down in inning number 7.
Good sinker, and Sano taking a look at the movement of the ball because he can't believe it just disappeared out of the zone. But that is the movement of Aaron Bummer. That's why the Sox believe that he is eventually going to be a quality left-hander consistently out of the pen. He's had a nice year this year. He threw the ball well last year. He battles his way onto the ball club this season. And now they're going to give him every opportunity to do what he can do and fit right into the middle of that pen from the left side with Luis Avilan. I saw Sebastian today, by the way.
You did.
The son of Luis Avilan and his lovely wife at one of those Brazilian steakhouses that we keep eating at because you are a carnivore supreme. Never seen anybody who can eat like that.
I always get buried in the food discussion. I really do.
Well, you eat like you're going to be executed tomorrow.
You never know.
True.
Just planning. Ball and a strike on Rosario. Mauer at first. You said it too. Sure, Bummer gives up the inherited runs, but he got what he wanted. It was just in the wrong place.
When Ricky brought him in, he brought him in to throw a ground ball. Throw a ground ball he did. It could easily been straight away second base. It wasn't. It was up the middle through a drawn in infield where there's no angles. Even though they played back for Castro at third, nobody could get to it. It trickled through. With Barrios on the mound, that 4 spot is going to be tough to overcome.
There's strike 3. Bummer gets a couple of punch outs. Twins do double the lead to 4-0 at the end of 7. Just in case you're hungry, get your donuts here. Sox are trying to change that on the scoreboard. Anything any day is what you love the most.
No, I'm willing to go $1 for the hot dogs. So you can't besmirch my character.
Yes, I can.
Oh.
For free.
Ryan Presley comes in the ball game, and fortunately for the Sox, Barrios is out. Presley is in, hard-throwing right-hander. There you look at the numbers, and okay, so it's not a great break. Right-hander sitting 167. He hasn't given up anything. But 4 hits and 5 1/3 with 6 strikeouts and a couple of walks.
Here's a guy who, when he got drafted by the Red Sox, was planning to walk on at Texas Tech. Then he ends up being a major part of a bullpen in Major League Baseball.
For quite some time, by the way.
Yep.
I mean, he's had an effective career out of the pen. He's always taken the ball. He's always had a good arm. And pens are constructed of guys just like him. You have your stars at the back end. You have functional guys who could be starters at the front end so they can eat up some innings. And you have guys like Ryan Presley in the middle.
Escobar beats out his counterpart by about 1.5 steps. Jose Barrios lethal tonight.
Take a look at some of this stuff. Well, that one didn't do quite what the rest of the pitches did. They dive inside, they dart away, they freeze you with the fastball, up or down, in and out. He had command every bit that you'd want with 11 strikeouts, tying a career high, only 3 singles. That's the sum total of the offense. He's hit 1, erased by a double play, and that's been it.
And one of those 3 hits was a Minnesota fat shot down the third base line that clanged off the bag.
Yep. Sano was back and had really no chance, and so Tim Anderson was very happy in the 5th inning to pick up a base hit.
You a billiards player?
I played against Minnesota Fats.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did, in Baltimore.
Come on.
And I got to tell you, he wasn't all that good. He was a trickster, but he wasn't all that good.
Wait a
I'm telling you,
second.
I played against him, and everything I said, hey, how about Massey, Fats? He goes, that's my long suit. I said, how about bank shots? He goes, that's my long suit. There was about 5 things I asked him if he could do because I could shoot a little pool. He'd say, hey, that's my long suit. Well, at that point, he couldn't play at all. He didn't have a long suit. In fact, he was rather short. And I guess that's the name Minnesota Fats, but I did play against him.
You beat him?
Yep. He was a trickster. I mean, he couldn't play real pool at that point. Jackie Gleason played him in the Hustler movie against Paul Newman. At that point, maybe early in his career, he could play, but he couldn't play like the real good players. Again, you know, it was more a legend than it was actually effectiveness. I mean, Willie Hoppe, guys like that could really play. And Fats was just a character, and a wonderful character he was, but he was very funny. He could do just about anything. He used a lot of trick shots, but as far as out and out play, he could be beaten by lots of folks.
Well, that one ball rode the rail pretty good down the third base line.
By the way, for whatever reason, and I'm not sure why he brought it up, that is literally 38 years of broadcasting, the first time I ever told that story.
Is that right?
Yep.
He's just the pool player that I go to when there's like a ball down the line. He's my default noun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Massey was his long suit. Bank shots, equally as long a suit.
Could have dropped a Laurie John Jones and you wouldn't have had a story.
I have no idea who that is.
Vivian Lee, right?
Gone with the Wind?
Nah. 1-2 on Omar. And it's fouled away.
Janet Lee? Bruce Lee? I know lots of Lees.
Are you malfunctioning?
Yes. It's late. We got no offense. I mean, it's getting late early, and the way that Barrios threw, it's a monumental hole, but Presley now in, and he's got pretty good stuff also.
1-2. On the ground, left side. 2 down. Hey, big news from the minor leagues. Told you the Winston-Salem Dash were going to extra innings.
Yes, you did.
They won in the 10th as Joel Booker stole home to win in the 10th inning.
That's pretty impressive. You don't see many straight steals of home these days.
You get a B&E rap for that.
Ooh. Legal terminology. I like that. B&E. You've been watching Dragnet again? You know, Jack Webb should have won an Emmy. Got to tell you that.
Just the fact, Steve. No opinions, please. 2 out on a couple of ground balls to shortstop. And Adam takes low and in, 1-1.
Adam, who's been choking up, looking for a little contact here. It's been a contactless night. Couple of strikeouts against a right-hander that overmatched a whole lot of Sox hitters. And it's not surprising that Barrios, one of the bright young stars on the baseball scene.
By the way, if you hear any paper shuffling, it's because Chuck Garfine's scrambling to rewrite his update. Evidently his update after this half inning was going to be the Joel Booker steal of home. So Chuck, get new material, buddy.
Oh, you crushed our Chuck. That's terrible.
We squash souls up here in the booth. Ball and 2 strikes from Presley. Barrios 7 innings, 11 strikeouts. And the Sox hoping to turn it around against the Minnesota bullpen in game number 1 of this series.
That breaking ball stayed up, and Adam was able to stay alive. It buckled the knees, but he was able to get a piece of it. What do you fastball away? Take it to right field, Adam.
Downstairs, 2-2.
Presley came to the big leagues with Minnesota. Started with Boston, but never made it to the show. 2013, 14, 15, 16, and last year an extended stay. Had a great year in 2015 and 2016. 72 appearances, 3.70 ERA, 6-7 out of the pen. He's always been a setup man or a middleman. He hasn't been trusted with saving too often. Just 1 major league save coming into this year.
Two and 2 from Presley to Engel. Tipped into the glove. Strike 3. After the break, Chuck Garfine with his new update. He's got a minute and a half to write it. Good luck.
game. The big right-hander, recently recalled from Charlotte, made one start, now working out of the pen. And he gets a chance once again at the major leagues. He's always had good control.
He comes up for Gregory Infante, who was sent down. And there is strike one from Volstad, who last year when he was called up by the Sox in September was at home in Florida prepping for the oncoming Hurricane Irma. He has a brewery down there and he was getting ready for the possible natural disaster, and he came up, got his first major league win in half a decade.
That's pretty impressive.
Maybe the best news is that ball is hit high to right field and hooking. Best news is that the bullpen door worked perfectly for Volstad, because tonight it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Aaron Bummer. Aaron.
He can't get out. Paul Molitor incensed at this. It wasn't a clever ploy because Bummer wasn't throwing any pitches, beating on the door to get out and get to the mound. But Chris Volstad coast out of the pen.
That is how you adjust.
It's a game of adjustment. It's a game of adjustment. You got to say, you have to have a lot of tools in this game, some of them to beat on the wall to get you out of the pen.
As somebody who's been locked in a hotel bathroom before, I'm getting a little shaky watching that video.
Boy, if I figure out how I did that, you're going to be in trouble.
Broken bat, one hopper, and Tim is on it for out number one.
Logan is really struggling. Very frustrating for him. When he came up with the Marlins, it looked like he had stardom written all over him. Would hit home runs in the 20s, big power to left center field. In those days, because he used the whole field, he was really a threat. These days, as he's gotten older, he's tried to pull everything, and at least at the start of this year, it hasn't worked out well.
And it's 3 for 34 to open the year for Logan Morrison. And this one knocked down. Moncada the recovery, and it's not in time. So Escobar is safe at first.
It's probably going to be E4, as Yohan having some problems with that. He's had one carry him off the glove earlier. This time it's a one hopper with overspin, but you got to make that play, and that one eats him up. We'll see if maybe he gives him a hit, however. Some hometown scoring. Take an error away from him. Seemed to take his eye off it, and the overspin got him. Hustling down the line, Eduardo beats the play at first. It is a base hit.
What would you have called that?
An error. But then I'm a pitcher. I call everything an error. Hit it over the wall, it's an error.
He won.
My error. Yep. I'm just thinking unearned run, I'll take the error.
Why didn't you ever lobby for that? Hey, I made the mistake. I threw him a fastball waist high right down the middle. He won.
I used to think early in my career, before I established myself, that a guy hit a home run, he shouldn't count because he hit it off me, not an established pitcher. But they seem to count him.
Did you get a self-deprecation trophy for that first couple of years?
It was pretty difficult at first to feel like you belong here, especially when you're not a star. So really, for young pitchers or young players, until you're able to realize the fact that you are here for a reason, that you're one of the best in the world at what you do, regardless of your success in the major leagues. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here. Then eventually you get this feeling that you belong here. And when you feel that, that's when you can start to get the best out of your ability. Until that time, you really can't.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because I think we've seen that with a couple of the White Sox players actually the past few years. I think Matt Davidson is one of them who really feels like he belongs in the clubhouse now.
It took him a while, because when he came up with the Diamondbacks, I mean, he had stardom written all over him, and everybody thought, well, this guy's going to hit 30, 35 home runs each and every year. Then there was some defensive issues, which he's worked out. Now he is a DH, plays third, plays first. But through it all, he can swing a very heavy bat and hit the ball a long way. He can take it out any part of the ballpark. We saw how effective that can be with yesterday's 2-1 win. He's responsible for the 2 runs, 5 home runs, 10 runs batted in the early going. Matt Davidson does indeed believe he belongs, and with it, all of that potential finally translating into performance. And you love to see it because Matt is a terrific guy. I know he shares a blog with you. You're along for the ride as he dominates the show, and wisely, he's doing a good job.
It's a podcast when there's talking.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Where can I see it?
We need to get Steve an IT guy. He's watching podcasts and listening to blogs. Help. In the air, left side. And Delmonico for out number 2. Enjoy White Sox baseball from the comforts of the Guaranteed Rate Club while providing your guests the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience. It's a private club, and it's the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family. And it's available for season ticket packages or individual games. For more info, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating. By the way, the first guest on the podcast is going to be James Shields. It was decided on the plane on Twitter yesterday on the way here by our executive producer, Matt Davidson. I get a vote, but it doesn't count.
Just had a text from Bruce Levine.
Hi, Bruce.
Noted baseball aficionado, been around town for a long time. And he talks about Minnesota Fats, or Rudolph as he calls him. And he pretty much substantiates that he was a trick shot artist. That's what he did, especially as he went through the aging process. But he was a very funny man, and that was part of the whole gig was his humor. And that's what really served him well late, as his skills kind of left, but he still could use trick shots and was very, very funny.
Well, you did it the other way. You didn't have your skills early, and now your humor is just declining.
Well, that's the case. You have to be consistent. I'm consistently declining.
2-0 on Buxton. I kid, of course. You're the funniest other person in this booth.
Yeah.
You've been tweeting at the fans this evening.
It's been really nice to be interactive with some of them, and they brought up some very good points in some story, especially that I left hanging that I got back to. So I'm really enjoying this. I mean, when I get this down in 2030, I think it's going to be very effective.
See, here's the thing. Just so everyone knows.
No, you
when
can't.
I give you
you can't blow the whistle here.
You can't?
Okay, go ahead.
Where's Daryl Boston?
That's true.
You're actually better at technical stuff than the 0 that you let on. It's like 0 through 10. It's a 1.
A 1.5 at times.
Yeah. But you can tweet at Steve at Steve Stone. Say hello during the game. He may audio tweet back at you.
If you are still watching, we have a message for you on a new segment we're thinking about.
3-2 now. That throw is high, and it's into center field. Escobar peels away. He's into third. 2 out. Runner at third for the Twins, and a cursory tag from Sanchez.
Jason and I have talked about a segment we would like to do where the fans tweet in. We will acknowledge the tweet. You tell us what sentence you want to get into the broadcast. We will tell you a specific time, and then we will use that sentence in a half inning.
Phrase,
sentence,
word,
yes, anything, and we will get it in. We will acknowledge you. We will disregard most of you, but include some of you.
We're going to create a Sox dictionary. Ground ball foul from Buxton. Escobar at first, 2 down, 8th inning. And Eduardo Escobar, 5 steals last year. This is his first of 2018.
He is really one of the delightful people around the major leagues. I go down, I say hello to him, first time, every series. And he's just delightful to be around because he loves the game, shows it every day, smile on his face, and they love him here as we loved him when he played for the White Sox. So Buxton aboard as the inning rolls along.
Two on, 2 out for Castro, who came up in the same spot in the 4th inning, and Giolito got him to ground out. Thanks for joining us tonight. Certainly love to have you along. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. Our entire crew downstairs, and we have a wonderful crew here in Minnesota. Great folks to do television along with.
Teresa in the booth, who talked to me about all the benefits of fresh pineapple before the game. It's clogged my throat since the third. Thank you, Teresa. We really appreciate that.
Pre-game eating tips with Steve Stone. Throw to first, and Buxton is back. Sox in the ninth will have Moncada, Garcia, and Abreu. Chris Volstad, in his first outing in the majors this year, is high with ball one. Sox have made some changes to the bullpen, and you thought it might not happen as early as it did, but Juan Minaya, Gregory Infante both going down to AAA, and the Sox have called on a couple of guys with either really good stuff or veteran leadership or both.
I love that Bruce Rondon seems to have figured out how to get the ball over the plate, because since he came into this league, when we saw him with Detroit, we realized if he got the ball over the plate, nobody could hit him. And you look at the batting average against and good contact stats, and you realize that his stuff is overwhelming. Since putting on a White Sox uniform, nobody is hitting him. And they found something, whatever it is, he really is a weapon. And if he can establish himself in the Sox pen, the bullpen looks completely different. Because now you can use Nate Jones to close if you want. Rondon has closer stuff. Just a question of how you want to use both of them. Ricky's going to use them interchangeably. But the two appearances of Rondon have been a revelation. He looks like a different guy than he looked in that Tiger uniform.
Fouled away with Buxton on the move, and the Sox have become a place where you can do that. You can have a reclamation project out of the bullpen, and Anthony Swarzak, a Tommy Kahnle, and then suddenly they become extremely viable out there in the bullpen.
Well, when you can trust your evaluators to, one, say, look, if we get a shot at this guy, let's take him, and two, Don Cooper, Kurt Hassler on the pitching side, along with all the evaluators in that front office. You take a guy with a great arm, you try to make him better. More times than not, the Sox are able to do that. And with Rondon, if they hit on this one, it is really big. Because this is a guy that's young enough to be around for a while with good enough stuff to dominate each and every time out. And again, as this team goes through the maturation process as a team, which Ricky and his staff are laying the foundation for now, they're trying to teach him how to win. The fact that they've been in each and every game that they've played this year, except for one, shows you that the team is learning, but they're under talented. They can't close the deal yet. They're just learning to get there. They're learning to get 3/4 of the way there, and the last quarter is the toughest, and they'll learn to do that under Ricky and his staff.
As they hone their skills as well in the major leagues.
And that's the key to the whole thing, but they're being well trained on how to play baseball. You learn how to play professional baseball first, Major League Baseball second. The toughest and the last is learning how to play winning baseball. That's what Ricky and the guys are trying to impart to his young, aggressive team.
Another foul ball on 3-2 from Castro. Buxton at second, Escobar at third, and the Sox with the top of the order coming in the ninth. This series is scheduled to have game 2 tomorrow for a 7 o'clock, 7:10 first pitch. But the rain in the forecast is heavy and on its way. So we'll see if that game does get in. 3-2. Swing and a tip into the glove. Strike 3. So Volstad with a scoreless 8th, and the Sox grab the bats after this.
to try to get 3 outs. So far, he's not getting many outs, and right-handers have torched him. There you look at the numbers. This is 3rd appearance. So the top of the order to face him, and it leads off with Moncada through the heart of the order, and Matt Davidson would love to hit as the tying run. To accomplish that, the 3 in front have got to get on.
Tonight was a historic night for the Twins and the local product. From Creighton-Durham Hall, Joe Mauer with his 2,000th career hit. Paul Molitor, the Hall of Famer, gives him a round of applause. Number 2,000 for Mauer. Feels like 800 of them have come against the Sox.
He hits everybody. You hit 309, 310 for your career, you're getting it done. And yes, a lot of people would say, you know, we'd like to have a guy with more power. Behind the plate, it was a non-factor. He was very much a plus. Going to first base, he couldn't be anything other than what he is, which is a quality major league hitter, one of the best who ever played the game. And, you know, with 2,000 hits in this day and age, it's pretty impressive for Joe.
So Moya to Moncada, and see if the Sox can get to the left-hander Gabriel Moya, who has been off for 4 straight days. He last pitched on the 7th. He threw 30 times in the 5th and 6th innings. Back on Saturday. Called a strike on the corner, 0-2 on Moncada.
By and large, Tony Randazzo's had a good game. That was not a strike, so he gave Moya a break, and you can't call him all right. That was close enough. He got the benefit of the call.
10th career major league game from Moya. It's right down the middle. So 1 down for Ravi here in the 9th. Strike 1 to Avi, who grounded out in the 1st, struck out looking in the 6th, and got hit in the hand in the 4th. And good news to see him still in the game after that hit by pitch in the 4th inning. As you said, when the ball hits you in the hand, a lot of bones in there.
Yeah, a lot of very small ones, easily broken. And Jose Abreu tripped over his bat, so he came away with no problems. It will be probably sore, so it could have been a whole lot worse tonight.
Well, if you're looking for the story of tonight, it was the 23-year-old out of Bayamon, Puerto Rico, Jose Barrios, who's given way now to the bullpen, but 7 innings, 3 hits, 11 strikeouts for a lively armed right-hander that the Sox certainly struggled with, and many teams will. Two-strike pitch. Oh boy!
Best thing that happened there was it came to the glove side. He tried to throw that ball up in his eyes and got it just under the letters, and Avi crushed it. Terrific play by Moya. More reflex and self-preservation than anything else, but when a ball comes back to you that hard and you're able to make the play, you breathe a sigh of relief, and fortunate that it didn't do some damage. This is a good play. Again, you should pretty much catch any of those to the glove side. If it comes to the throwing hand side, you got no chance, and Moya makes a good play, breathes a sigh of relief, and that's the benefit of squaring up your delivery without falling off to, in this case, the third base side.
2 down, bases clear. So scary to see what happened to Jordan Zimmerman.
Oh boy, you're not kidding.
And he basically said, well, he was on Twitter, he said, dodged a bullet, not really. But he came out as unscathed as you can be from an atom ball that looked like it might break his jaw. Sano at third, can't handle it. Sox have life in the ninth.
Got to give him a base hit. You don't really, but you'd like to see Jose get a base hit. They would certainly like to see Sano, who longtime coach Gene Glynn told me Sano will win a Gold Glove. I don't think this year, but he's getting better and better at third. There is no better arm in either league than Miguel Sano. He charges aggressively. It hits the heel of the glove, as you can see, and they're giving him an air. So I'll boo that. Boo.
Are they saying boo or boo-earns? Evidently boo in this case. Davidson with ball number 1.
Biggest thing was it keeps the game alive, and Matt with a chance to drive home a run or two.
Oh. That was a soft catch by Castro on a ball off the plate. Matt's got to lead the league in called strikes that weren't strikes.
He's had that going for him in the early going, along with a lot of home runs and runs batted in.
Jose took second.
Uncontested, defensive indifference.
One. Inside, 2 balls and a strike.
Castro's had a nice night behind the plate as their closer Fernando Rodney comes up. You get another base runner, and Rodney's coming in to nail it down. He's been around a long time, usually with very good stuff, wears his hat off to the side to give the illusion he's actually looking at you at first.
He's a changeup factory, as we've seen. Twins lost a big lead yesterday. They're not going to tonight. It's a shutout for Jose Barrios and company, and the Sox fall in the opener by the count of 4-0.
You just get out pitched. Lucas Giolito did a nice job, but unfortunately he ran into Jose Barrios tonight. Too much Barrios, and we'll try to remedy that tomorrow night.
If the weather cooperates here at Target Field, certainly hope to see you then. Ricky Renteria's team falls to 4-8. Twins are up to 7-4. So for our producer Keon Dolachahi, our director Jim Angio, our associate producer Dave Ross, our tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Greg Bowman, and our entire NBC Sports Chicago crew here in Minneapolis. For Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on NBC Sports Chicago. Have a great night.
With that in mind, Adam Engel is over toward left center. Nicky Delmonico is toward the line in left. And Yolmer is at 3.